Good afternoon, everyone. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Field for the last time of Season 18. Please welcome our guests from Ocoee High School. They are the Knights. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Let's meet the teams, beginning with our guests from Ocoee and starting with their leadoff hitter. Behind the plate at the bottom of each inning, number 20, Jose Ritana. Batting second is third baseman number 13, Bryson Gray. Third in the lineup for Ocoee is shortstop number 6, Sariko Allen. The cleanup hitter for Ocoee, center fielder number 42, DJ O'Neill. In the 5-hole, second baseman, number 5, Shamar Woodard. Batting 6 for the Knights is first baseman, number 3, Trenton Nice. In the 7-hole, designated hitter, number 10, Xavier Palmer. And fielding for him to start today's game is number 17, Enrique Archie. Batting 8th for Ocoee is right fielder, number 31, Amand Davis. And finally for the Knights, batting 9th, left fielder, number 14, Jaden Brown. Who's the coach? Neil, who's the coach? And now, let's meet the lineup. The Knights are managed by head coach Trent Hopper, with assistant coaches Derek Potts, Jaden Colon, and Michael Hopper. Now let's meet the lineup for your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Beginning with their leadoff hitter, shortstop, number 9, Darrell Martinez. Second in the lineup for the Mustangs, designated hitter, number 4, Brady Renard. Fielding for him at center field is number 16, Nathan Fritchley. Third in the lineup for the Mustangs is third baseman, number 12, Jaden Graham. The cleanup hitter for the Mustangs is first baseman number 20, Emil Flacker. In the 5-hole, right fielder number 2, Caden Lopez. Batting 6th for the Mustangs is second baseman number 6, Enrique Polanco. 7th in the lineup for the Mustangs, and on the pitcher's mound to start today's game, number 17, Austin Schwartz. In the 8-hole and behind the plate at the top of each inning, number 3, Cody Bowen. And finally for the Mustangs, batting 9th, left fielder, number 1, Noah James. And the Mustangs are managed by head coach Brian Tatai with assistant coach Sean Irons. And now we invite you to please stand and remove your hats as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. And now, we would normally save this for the middle of the fifth inning, and we might still do it then, but that is past our special guest singer's bedtime. Please welcome, for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, my son, David.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Sorry, Sylvie nuts. And Cracker Jack. I don't get it. I never get that. For the Mustangs. They don't win. It's a shame. 1, 2, 3. Stress you out. At the old ball game.
Oh, that was such a good job.
Once again, we welcome everyone to Mustang Field for the final day of Season 18. For those of you here in the ballpark, if you have friends or family back in Ocoee, elsewhere in Apopka, or anywhere in the world, we want to let you know we are live streaming this afternoon's game. You can find it in two places. We are on NFHSnetwork.com, the official online partner of the Florida High School Athletic Association. But if you're not a member there, we also live stream it absolutely free. We simulcast on our YouTube channel, Wekiva Sports. So just invite your friends and family to open up the YouTube app on their favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device and search Wekiva Sports. It will come right up. And we want to welcome those of you who have done just that. My name is Mark Barchi, voice of the Mustangs and sports information director here at Wekiva High School. And I am joined by longtime Apopka sports journalist Neil Fisher to take you through the end of at least the regular season portion of Season 18. And Neil, this is actually a repeat of yesterday. I know it's not uncommon to see home and away series played back-to-back, but actually not just back-to-back games, back-to-back days. This is literally a do-over of yesterday's game for the Mustangs and perhaps an opportunity to correct some mistakes. It was a game that the Mustangs perhaps saw within their reach, but some mistakes that they're going to have to correct if they're going to succeed in the season finale here at Mustang Field.
Yeah, Mark, and as always, an excellent job of the Star Spangled Banner, and of course your son, David. Give him some kudos.
As we enter the top of the first inning, the leadoff hitter for the Knights is catcher number 20, Jose Retana.
We'll have the defensive lineup for you in just a moment. As you just heard Mark say, that's Retana stepping into the batter's box. And we're ready to go with Schwartz on the mound for Wekiva. The score of last night's game, 7-5, as strike one delivered by Schwartz. And really the key to that, and you don't have to be the proverbial baseball guru, you can look at the scorebook. 10 errors committed by Wekiva. Yes, 10 errors and that 2-run loss. So Schwartz gets his sign, and that's going into foul territory. A 0-2 count now on our first batter, Josiah Retana. So your defensive lineup for Wekiva behind the plate, as we've seen all season: Bowen, Flaquer at first, Polanco at second, in the hole, Martinez on the hot corner, Graham, and left to right in the outfield, as the count goes 1-2. James, Fritchley, and Lopez, that's your outfield. So Wekiva comes in 6-16. 12-11 record for Ocoee, so the victory last night putting him over 500. Chance to get that up to 2 over 500 now for Ocoee as Schwartz delivers, and that Ratana did get a piece of that. So everybody back to your assigned positions. 1 and 2. We're in the first inning. First batter from Mustang Field, right next to the 429 in southeast Apopka. As Schwartz gets his sign. Back to work. And now 2-2 evens the count. Schwartz looking for that third strike and first out of the game, and there he goes. He gets it. Ratana unable to catch up with the heat on the outside corner. 1 up, 1 down in the first inning.
Schwartz records the strikeout to put 1 away for the Knights. Next to the plate, third baseman number 13, Bryson Gray.
Schwartz comes in with an 0-3 record, his 10th appearance, the 4th start. And he has 18 walks against 13 strikeouts, so certainly in the statistical category some work to do as he begins this at-bat against Gray with ball 1. 1 out following the strikeout to Ratana. And Gray at the plate now. He comes in batting 196 with 10 RBIs and a pair of doubles. And he now is looking at a 1-1 count. Allen on deck, the shortstop. Couldn't ask for a better day, Mark. At Mustang Field, temperature about 80 degrees as we get started on this Thursday night edition of high school baseball. And our first ball hit into fair territory, and it's going to drop in, blooping in front of James. So a strikeout and a single to begin this game.
Gray with a single. Safe at first. Next to the plate for Ocoee, shortstop number 6, Sariko Allen.
And Allen steps in, batting 400. A leading hitter for Ocoee with 19 RBIs, 6 doubles, and a pair of home runs. So certainly some caution for Allen with the runner on first, that being Gray. Temperatures in about 80 degrees as we get started. Partly cloudy sky as strike 1 delivered. And a slight breeze. Of course, Ocoee, we did mention that this is the back end of a back-and-back series, or a home-and-home if you prefer. Quick throw over to first. But Ocoee was one of the schools from which the student population came when Wekiva opened 18 years ago. The two schools only about 5 miles apart.
Yeah, ironically, I think it's a shorter trip to get from here to Ocoee than it is to get to Apopka, which is actually in the same city limits.
Yeah, of course, Apopka has always been considered Wekiva's geographical rival, or primary geographical rival.
That's headed into right field. Will it stay fair? It will not. Yeah, apologies, we don't have a camera angle that goes into that corner, but take my word for it, that was foul ball for an 0-2 count.
And so Ocoee, always the 1A geographical rival, as March mentioned, perhaps at least distance-wise. Maybe they should be the primary, but nonetheless. Of course, Ocoee, black and gold, their natural colors, the Knights. As Gray back to first base safely. Mustang Field the site, the second of 2 home-and-home series, 2 consecutive series. Excuse me, 2 consecutive games against Ocoee. Ocoee taking last night's game 7-5, now a 1-2 count. Runner on first, that being Gray. We started with a strikeout. Gray singling, gained the first base hit of the ball game. Schwartz looks in, gets his sign from Bowen. Quick look over to first and steps off the slab. So we'll do this all over again. Schwartz a lefty. And on the outside corner, Schwartz trying to get Allen to chase, would have none of it. In the meantime, Gray now at second base with the stolen base, no throw. So a scoring threat now in the top of the first. 2-2 count on Allen. Wekiva 6-16. So last game of the season for them, an opportunity to go into that postseason, the district championship tournament, with some momentum as ball 2 delivered. Actually, excuse me, it's ball 3, so it's a full count with the runner at second and 1 out, top of the first inning from Mustang Field. And the pitch from Schwartz, full count. Ball lashed into right field, or excuse me, left field. Rounding third is Gray. He's going to score, no throw home. And a 1-0 lead for Ocoee in the top of the first. Beautiful piece of hitting by Allen, driving that ball into left field, pulling it, hitting it right where it needed to go to get the run in. So give the RBI to Allen.
Allen picks up an RBI single, and that will put the Knights on the board. Next at the plate, center fielder number 42, DJ O'Neill.
So Allen drives home his 20th RBI of the season, and he is at first, so it's only 1 out, so a number of options for Ocoee. Schwartz continues on the mound. Ball ripped down third base. Nice job by Graham to snag it. Long throw. It's going to be wild as well. And all the way to third base is Allen, as O'Neill, give him credit for the single, and he'll get second base on the air.
O'Neill picks up the single and advances to second on the error. Runners at 2 and 3 now. And next to the plate for Ocoee will be second baseman number 5, Shamar Woodard.
And Woodard is going to have runners at first, or second and third, 1 out. Golden opportunity to up that lead as well as his RBI total. 19 on the season for Woodard, a .291 batting average, along with 3 doubles and a home run, and he looks at strike 1 to begin the at-bat from Schwartz. So the errors continue for Wekiva. Mentioned they had 10 last night. His account now 0-2. So for Schwartz, he gets off to exactly what every pitcher wants. 2 pitches, 2 strikes. But in general, Wekiva has had problems with errors all season, averaging about 6 a game. And Woodard stays alive following that ball off. Runners at second and third, 1 out, top of the first inning. Ocoee already with a 1-0 lead. The number 5 hitter Woodard at the plate. Golden opportunity for Ocoee to stretch that lead and take control of this game. They'll have to wait 1 more pitch. 1-2 count. Schwartz from the set. Trying to get Woodward to bite on the outside curveball. Woodward laying off. Runs the count to 2-2. And there is ball 4, so excuse me, I was off by 1. And now bases are loaded with only 1 out in the top of the first. That will bring up Trenton, the first baseman.
Woodard walks to first. That loads up the bases for first baseman number 3, Trenton Nice.
And Nice.
I'm assuming it could be Nice, or if it's like the French city, then it would be Nice. I'll have to ask.
255 batting average, 14 RBIs and a double. And now he comes up with the bases loaded. So certainly a chance to improve his stats as well as that 1-0 lead. Schwartz, the starter, definitely facing trouble this inning. It's in a jam. And now a 1-0 count to Trenton. Trenton gets his, or excuse me, Schwartz gets his sign and now is ready to deliver to Trenton. That ball jacked into right field. Nice piece of hitting, opposite field. 1 run in, and here comes the second. And a 3-0 lead now for Ocoee in the top of the first inning. 2 RBIs for for Trenton. Woodward over at third base. So 21 on the season for Woodward, 21 on the season for Trenton, and stepping into the plate is Palmer. The single by Trenton ups the lead to 3-0, and now at the plate, number 10, designated hitter, Xavier Palmer. And Palmer lays down the bunt on the first pitch. It's a beauty. Schwartz coming off, and the error will make the lead 4-0. So the second play in this inning in which a nice fielding play is committed, but then the error, the wild throw over to first base, and the 4-0 lead with only 1 out. And now stepping into the plate, the left-hander, right fielder, Davis. Yeah. Yep. So 4 hits, 2 errors, 4-0 lead for Wekiva with Davis at the plate, runner at first, and only 1 out. And ball 1. Eighth batter in this inning. So barring the double play, Ocoee will go through the entire lineup in the top of the first. Davis batting .265 with 5 RBIs and a double. And ball bounces in front of Martinez, who throws over to second baseman Polanco for the easy out. Second out of the inning, and much needed out for Wekiva as well. The runners do not advance.
Fielder's choice is made at second. Runner remains at first, and next to the plate will be left fielder number 14, Jaden Brown.
So Brown, only a freshman on the varsity team, batting .216 with 5 RBIs. The number 9 batter in this inning, in this lineup, and streaking down to second base is Davis. Second stolen base of the inning. Second time the base stolen without a throw as well. Schwartz gets his sign. As Polanco comes into second, no throw, but enough of a look for Davis to feel the need to slide back. 4-0 lead, top of the first inning. Ocoee, the visitors, going through the entire lineup and certainly taking control of this game in their first opportunity as the whiff. Not a strikeout, but one strike, but unable to catch up with the low slider. And that'll even the count at 1-1. Brown steps back in with that 1-1 count, 2 outs, runner at second, top of the first. And a 2-2 count, a 2-1 count now. Ocoee looking to sweep the season series from Wekiva. Both games being played on consecutive nights. Last night, a 7-5 victory by Ocoee, taking advantage of 10 Wekiva errors. That ball's chopped over into foul territory. That'll even the count at 2-2. And a chance for Schwartz and Wekiva to get out of this inning, trailing 4-0. Delivery from Schwartz. No call, no strike. And down to third base is Davis. So a full count now with a runner at third and 2 outs. Schwartz looking to get out of this inning. He needs one more strike. Of course, if Brown can reach base on a base hit, it'll be a 5-0 lead. And, well, actually, it's now a full count. So everybody back to your assigned positions. Same situation. Schwartz from the set. From the stretch. Count remains 3-2. And the tension starts to pick up again. After the foul ball, Schwartz delivers. And strike 3. So Schwartz gets the hook, the backwards K, which means a called third strike. And a bit of an odd situation. Took a couple seconds for our umpire to deliver whether it was a strike or ball, but in the end, exactly what Wekiva needed, the strikeout. And so we will go to the bottom of the first inning. Ocoee, even though they're out, taking that 4-0 lead on 4 hits, 2 errors by Wekiva. And the inning comes to an end with the strikeout. However, Ocoee plates 4 runs in the top of the first inning and takes a 4-0 lead into the bottom of the first. Due up for Wekiva in the bottom of the first inning, Martinez, Reinert, and Graham. What's that? 5-0. Yeah. And correction, the score is 5-0 in favor of Ocoee. And we begin the bottom of the first inning. Now batting the shortstop, number 9, Martinez. So Martinez steps in with that 6-0 lead, the 5-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Wekiva with its first opportunity, already down 5-0. And we will have the defensive lineup in just one moment as Martinez looks at ball 1. Leadoff hitter Martinez at the plate with the 1-0 count, make that 1-1. And make that 2-1 count. Ball slapped into center field, actually more of right field, as Martinez rounds first, slides into second, and he's safe. A leadoff double, exactly what Wekiva needed after giving up 5 runs in the top of the first.
Martinez hits a double into right center field. He's safe at second. Next to the plate for the Mustangs, designated hitter number 4, Brady Reinert.
It's 5-0. So Brady Reinert steps in with the runner at second, nobody out. And Reinert certainly having a season where it was expected, 365, 9 RBIs and a double for the junior as he looks at strike 1. And Enrique Archie, the starter for Ocoee, on the mound, as he delivers strike 2, an 0-2 count right away. Archie comes in with a 4.72 ERA, 2.2 record, 6th start of the season, and 30 walks against 29 strikeouts for the sophomore, as the count now 1-2. Of course, Archie, if you follow Wekiva, a familiar name. He was with Wekiva last season, played football and baseball. Transferred to Ocoee, now facing his former mates and team as the count now goes 2-2. Bottom of the first inning, 5-0 Ocoee. The good news for Wekiva, though, their leadoff hitter Martinez is on second base. And they got their leading hitter, Reinert, at the plate, and now he'll be looking at a 3-2 count. So Archie bounces that ball right in front of Ratana. He's our catcher. At first is Trenton Woodard, the second baseman in the hole. Allen, the hot corner gray. The outfield left to right, Brown, O'Neill, and Davis. And ball 4, as Reinert takes an 0-2 count into a walk.
Reinert battles back from the 0-2 count to take the base on balls. That puts runners at 1 and 2 for third baseman number 12, Jaden Graham.
And so Graham will have a golden opportunity with runners at first and second and nobody out. Wekiva taking a page out of Ocoee's book, actually a little bit even better as strike 1 delivered, ball 1. Wekiva getting its first 2 batters on with a double and a walk. Ocoee, in the meantime, began the game with a strikeout and a single as the count now 2-0. So a 7-5 victory last night for Ocoee. The second of the home-and-home series, now at Mustang Field right next to the 429 in southeast Apopka, as that ball is sliced into foul territory by Graham. Graham, your second leading hitter for Wekiva, coming in with a .333 batting average, 9 RBIs, 5 doubles, and a pair of triples. And now a 2-2 count. And of course, Mark, certainly a much different team than what we've seen the last couple of years. A young team, as I mentioned, Ocoee winning last night 7-5, 10 errors, really the stat that sticks out, hard to miss there, as Graham goes down, unable to catch up with the high hard heat.
Archie records a swinging strikeout to put one away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, first baseman, number 20, Emil Flacker.
So Archie now even in walks and strikeouts at 30 each as Flacker steps in. And no movement on the bases. Runners remain at first and second, now with one out though. As Flacker looks at strike one, the throw down to third, and in safely is Martinez. Beautiful slide from the shortstop. Certainly something you could use on the front page of the newspaper, Sports Illustrated, as the dust was kicking up there in the dirt. Flack here, 286 on the season, 11 RBIs and a double. And now it's time for him to earn his pay as the cleanup hitter, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, Wekiva is showing signs of being able to get something done here against Archie, but it's just a matter of finding the right pitch as we still are waiting for Flacker to get his first. Runners at 1 and 3. 5-0 lead for Ocoee here in the bottom of the first.
Ocoee sending 9 batters to the plate in that first inning after the first batter got out. There's strike. That'll take the count to 0-1. And at the plate, Reiner trying to steal home, sneak in there.
Reiner is
2
caught
outs.
stealing at home to put 2 away for the Mustangs. The steal is successful at second. And correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but anecdotally, I remember the Mustangs running exactly that play when we were last here for senior night.
Yeah, and actually that was Martinez out at home plate. So now 2 outs with a runner at second. That does change your strategy as a 1-1 count. And not sure what that was about, but Reiner just trotted over to third base. Not necessarily that he stole the base, it was just there was no throw and he was trotting.
Yeah, I'm honestly not certain whether that was a balk or whether that was just a ball with defensive indifference. It was a balk? Okay, I'm hearing that it was a balk.
Okay.
So that means that pitch didn't count, so now that's ball 1.
Okay, yes. And please remember, folks, that we are on the third base side and we don't always see the umpire directly in front of us. So
I mentioned a moment ago that we had senior night earlier this week as Flacker goes to second base.
That's Woodard. Throw to first, and nice job by the second baseman. So what could have been a beautiful inning, something of an answer for Wekiva fizzles out, and the lead remains 5-0 heading into the top of the second.
In that half inning, the Mustangs scoring no runs on 1 hit with no night errors, leaving 1 on base. The run does not score as the play is made on the 4-3 ground out from Woodard to Nice, and that will take us to a 5-0 ball game at the end of 1 inning. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. If this is your first time joining us, we want to remind you that you will hear silence during the breaks between half innings. Do not be alarmed. We have to mute the sound so that we don't run afoul of copyright guidelines on broadcasts, but do not adjust your television set. We'll be right back. As we enter the top of the second inning, the Knights begin in the first position of their lineup with catcher number 20, Jose Ratana.
And the score is also 5-0 in favor of Ocoee. They sent 9 batters to the plate. In the top of the first inning to score those 5 runs, 4 hits, a couple of errors by Wekiva. Both errors the same way, beautifully fielded ground balls, then wild throws over to first base. Ratana began the game with a strikeout against Schwartz, so we got a rematch in the top of the second, and unable to catch up with that high, hard one. 1-0-1 count to Ratana, the catcher. As you can hear the Ocoee bench cheering on Ratana. He's looking at a 1-1 count. Not a cloud in the sky over Mustang Field. Temperatures in the high 70s, perfect baseball weather. Continues as the count goes 2-2. Schwartz trying to get Ratana to fish. Ratana having none of it. The delivery from Schwartz, the ball tomahawked into foul territory, 2-2 count on the leadoff hitter. Second straight inning that Ratana has started the inning, of course, being the leadoff hitter. He bats first in the first. Schwartz with the sign, the delivery. And we'll go to a full count on the leadoff hitter in the second inning. So certainly not what you want to see in terms of a long at bat to start off the second inning. As I mentioned, Schwartz already having to face the entire Ocoee lineup in the first inning, and now he's already thrown 6 pitches to start the second inning, and that'll be 7 pitches now. Count will remain 3-2. 5-0 lead for Ocoee. 2-2 count. Excuse me, a 3-2 count to the leadoff hitter in the top of the second, Ratana. And he has in his granted time. Schwartz delivers a full count and a walk to lead off the top of the second. So Schwartz unable to turn the 2 strikes into an out. Ratana drawing the walk, and that'll bring up Gray, who singled in the first inning and scored a first run of the ball game.
Ratana walks to first. Next to the plate, third baseman number 13, Bryson Gray.
So Mark, again, that's the mistake of youth. Of course, Schwartz only a sophomore. And we've seen mistakes throughout the course of this game from this younger laden team. Actually, excuse me, Schwartz is a junior. But it's his first season that he's had a primary role.
Yeah, and if you look at the line score from yesterday, you can immediately see kind of what went wrong without even reviewing the play-by-play.
Can't mention enough. I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. Throw down the second and got him, Ratana. So
Ratana is caught stealing on the throw from Bowen to Polanco. 1 away for the Knights.
So the mistake by Wekiva issuing the leadoff walk to Ratana, but they get the opportunity to redeem themselves and take advantage. Going back to the line score, though, 10 errors committed by Wekiva again.
And they've already got 2 in the first inning for this game. So Wekiva going to try to tighten things up and end the home season on a powerful note.
As that ball drifts into foul territory, and 2 down as Flaquer corrals it.
Neil Flogger has the foul out catch at first base. 2 away now for Ocoee. Next to the plate for the Knights, shortstop, number 6, Sariko Allen.
So a leadoff walk to Ratana, and now 2 straight outs. Wekiva taking advantage of being given a reprieve with Ratana trying to steal second. The fly ball in foul territory. Flaquer doing a nice job of positioning himself. And as you just heard Mark say, that brings up Allen, who looks at ball 1. Allen 1 for 1, singling in the first, scoring the second run. Ratana leading off the game with a strikeout, and then 7 straight batters reaching base for Ocoee to take that 5-0 lead. 2 teams playing for the second consecutive night, home and home series. As the count goes 2-0, Ocoee taking a 7-5 victory last night. Same story in terms of the lead. They scored a run in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, before Wekiva scored a run in the fourth. So Ocoee has yet to trail against Wekiva this season. Has now a 3-0 count. Schwartz bouncing that ball a couple feet in front of the plate. Sun beginning to descend from Mustang Field. And you might even be able to hear the rumblings of the automobiles passing on the 429 behind us. 429 overlooking the softball and baseball complex as 4 straight pitches, 4 straight balls, and Allen is going to stop at first. Bowen getting back quickly enough to prevent any thoughts of taking second base, but still.
Allen takes first base on balls. Next to the plate will be center fielder, number 42, DJ O'Neill.
So a 2-out walk, and O'Neill comes up to the plate, a single in the first inning. And then the first of the 2 errors was committed by Wekiva. Graham doing an excellent job of catching the ball. The ball was hit hard down the third base line, doing exactly what you expect from a third baseman, corralling it out of bounds and then making the ill-advised throw, which allowed an extra base to be gained by all the runners, and an easy stolen base, no throw by Bowen. And so a 2-out scoring opportunity for Ocoee, as O'Neill now looking at the 1-0 count. Top of the first inning, top of the second inning. The lefty Schwartz delivers and gets the strike, a curveball on the outside corner to O'Neill. And speaking of last night, Wekiva did actually out-hit Ocoee 11-8. So just another stat to back up what Mark and I have been saying, the 10 errors. As there's ball 2 against 1 strike. The 10 errors committed by Wekiva sticking out. Hard. And really, Mark, I mean, there's just no way that you can talk about a game, a loss, when you make 10 errors without bringing up the errors as your first stat. And speaking of errors, that's a mental error. It won't go down as a tangible error, but it does now put a runner at third base. Still 2 outs, so. So O'Neill came up to the plate in a non-scoring opportunity, at least conservatively speaking. And with 17 RBIs, so now he's got a very good chance of getting that 18th RBI, only 60 feet away. And he will not get that chance as 4 straight balls, though, thrown by Schwartz, and that'll bring Woodard to the plate.
DJ O'Neill walks to first. That'll put runners at 1 and 3 for second baseman, number 5, Shamar Woodard.
Woodard has yet to have an official at bat. He walked in the first inning, scored a run. So Woodard's batting average remains no throw. 291 batting average and 19 RBIs. And as I mentioned with O'Neill, that RBI opportunity now passes to Woodard. The good news for Wekiva, though, is there is 2 outs. So Schwartz just needs to get the batter. Bad news is he had 2 outs and 2 walks. Could have been out of this inning. The lefty delivers, and it will be up high, ball 1, as the stolen bases continue. So now runners at second and third. Ocoee batting .280 on the season as a team, .414 batting on-base percentage, .348 slugging percentage. So certainly very respectable numbers for the Knights of Ocoee. And now ball 2. And to quote Bob Uecker, just a bit outside. Of course, that comes from the movie Major Leagues.
Most of which we cannot quote on a high school broadcast.
I'm not sure we could quote it on the Major League broadcast either. At least the baseball scenes. 2-1 count now. Of course, Mark, being older than you, I can speak to this. Major Leagues coming out in 1987, and during the month of April, because the baseball season gets underway, it does seem like the movie Major Leagues appears on TV about 100 times more than the rest of the season, as the count now 3-1. Five-0 lead for Ocoee. We're in the bottom of the second, threatening to up that lead. Wekiva having 2 outs, though. And we'll have to wait to see if they can put that lead up. But now they have upped the chances of scoring more runs as the bases are loaded on that walk.
Shamar Woodard walks to first, and that will load up the bases. For first baseman, number 3, Trenton Nice.
So Nice steps in. He's 1 for 1 today, a single, 2 RBIs in that first inning. That was probably what I would say was the hit with the most impact. Up to that point, it was actually only 3-0 as he slams that ball foul. 0-1 count to start off. And one thing that people don't talk about a lot in sports, because every sports is based on scores. The only one I can think of where you're trying to get the least amount of a score is golf. But every other score, you look at that score, and there are certain, watershed numbers, as the count now 1-1, which it just seems like if you get that one more run or a couple more points in basketball or maybe one more touchdown, it just changes the whole complexion of the game in terms of having a better control with the lead. And of course, baseball, you go from 3 to 5 runs.
Yeah, and that's a big difference.
Just mentally.
Yeah, those extra couple of runs really just from a momentum perspective, from a, how far deep in it are we perspective.
How much energy do we have to expend? How much are we playing back on our heels? So again, brought that up because Nice's 2 RBI single in the first took the lead from 3 to 5-0. Now he's up again with the bases loaded. There are 2 outs though, as Schwartz doing a nice job of keeping Allen at bay over on third base. Again, thank you for joining us on this Thursday night as Wekiva and Ocoee conclude their regular season. Of course, they will move to the district championship tournaments next week. Schwartz delivers. The 1-1 count will now be 1-2, and so Nice has had a couple of hard hit balls over in foul territory. He hasn't been able to straighten out the contact. If he does, it could be trouble for Wekiva. Everybody back to your assigned position. Schwartz with the sign, the delivery, and just what he needs. Nice, unable to catch up with the high hard one, and the inning does come to an end.
Schwartz records the swinging strikeout, and that will take us to the middle of the second inning. In that half inning, no runs, scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving 3 on base, and the score remains 5-0 Ocoee at the end of an inning and a half. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. As we enter the bottom of the second inning, the Mustangs begin in the 5th position in their lineup with right fielder number 2, Caden Lopez.
And Wekiva also trailing 5-0 as ball 1 delivered to Lopez. The good news for Wekiva is the lead remained 5-0 as they were able to get out of that jam. Bases loaded in the first inning as the count goes 2-0, in the top of the second. The bad news is they were trailing 5-0 because they gave up 5 runs in the first inning. So Lopez at the plate as he looks at strike 1, 2-1 count. Lopez batting .292 on the season, 10 RBIs and a double. And now the 3-1 count on the leadoff hitter at the bottom of the second inning. He'll be followed by Polanco, the second baseman, and Schwartz, the pitcher. And now 3-2 count. As Archie, the former Mustang, continues on the mound. That ball chopped down to second. Charging is Gray from the foul line. Long throw and a nice scoop by Trenton. 1 up, 1 down in the top of the bottom of the
ground
second.
out made from Gray to Nice. 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, second baseman, number 6, Enrique Polanco.
Polanco, the freshman, playing on the varsity team, batting .182 with 6 RBIs, no extra bases. He steps up with nobody on, 1 out, looks at ball 1. And that'll even the count at 1-1. Wekiva with the 6-16 record. So it's been a long season as that ball was squibbed off. Polanco unable to hold up. Archie fooling him on the slider on the outside. And that ball ripped, but foul. Well, that'll keep the count at 1-2. A very young team for Wekiva this season. Very much a work in progress, learning in progress as we've gone through the season. A lot of graduations last season. Count now 2-2. And certainly you could see that on the field. Talked about throughout the whole season. A lot of mistakes being made. Not just tangible errors, but also a lot of mental errors. Ocoee, on the other hand, 12-11, as the count will now remain 2-2. About 50 fans making the pilgrimage to Mustang Field this afternoon.
There you see the backstop camera trembling as the foul ball heads into the backstop.
A 3-2 count now. And ball 4, Polanco draws the walk.
Polanco takes first base on balls. Next for the Mustangs is pitcher number 17, Austin Schwartz. Schwartz, of course, being the starting pitcher. Most often when you see the designated hitter rule used, you see the designated hitter replacing the pitcher in the lineup. That is not the case tonight. We're actually replacing the center fielder Fritchley. And Schwartz is actually has pretty respectable batting numbers for the Mustangs in addition to being one of the starting pitchers.
Yeah, actually, he's got excellent numbers. He's batting .423 on the season with 6 RBIs. Does not have an extra base hit, though. So I did make a mistake in that first inning as soon as we say that he has excellent batting average, he swings at a bad pitch. That'll make it 0-2. But that first inning, I was mistaken. Reinert, who came into this game being .365, an excellent batting average as well, but he is not the leading hitter. Schwartz is at .423, and of course, we could not use, there's no better time to need a hit than right now, trailing 5-0 with only 1 out and the runner at first, a 1-2 count now. This is Schwartz's first at bat of the game, and that's a foul ball, smacked right down onto the home plate.
Yeah, it looked like it was bouncing fair, but it touched the ground foul first. So the Mustangs holding their own here despite getting into a hole early. And there's Schwartz That wasn't a great pitch to swing at, but when you're down 1-2, you got to at least chop at anything close to keep the at-bat alive, and that's just what he did.
Polanco remaining at first base. Slides back. Yeah, Mark, 5 runs put across that board in the first inning by Ocoee. 9 batters coming to the play. Is the count now 2-2. And you can even go a little bit more specific below the surface. Schwartz able to get the leadoff hitter out. So started off as well as you could expect if you're on defense. Well, there's strike 3. Schwartz swinging at a pitch that was borderline, and that's where being in a 2-strike hole comes into play.
Foul tip on strike 3 will put 2 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, catcher number 3, Cody Bowen.
So the point being, after the strikeout, getting your leadoff hitter out, Wekiva then giving up 7 straight batters reaching base, and a 5-0 hole, which is the difference right now in this game. As you heard Mark say, who's also our public address announcer, that's why his voice has more of a depth and boom to it as we begin with strike 1. That's Bowen at the plate. Bowen bagged 179 on the season with 6 RBIs, no extra base hits. And on the mound is Enrique Archie, as the count now 0-2.
And Bowen caught looking on that pitch. And, you know, Neil, it's funny you say that the reason my voice is low and booming is because I'm doing PA.
Well,
although every once in a while, people encounter me on the street who only know me from being a PA announcer, and they're like, you actually... Welcome back to Mustang Field, and apologies for the technical difficulty. All you missed was Wekiva getting caught stealing at second. I'm not sure exactly when the computer crashed there, but that was the 3rd out, and so that took us to the end of the 2nd inning with the score unchanged. 5-0 Ocoee, so we are now getting ready to head into the top of the 3rd. As we enter the top of the 3rd inning, the Knights will begin in the 7th position of their lineup with designated hitter number 10, Xavier Palmer. So we get back to live action here at Mustang Field, and Wekiva hanging in there. They've managed to hold the Knights to no runs in the 2nd. Of course, Ocoee returned the favor as we get a low swinging strike to open up this at-bat for Palmer.
The score is now 5-0, and to your point, Mark, the difference, all 5 runs scored in the top of the 1st inning as Schwartz continues on the mound. The first-year starter throwing ball 1-1 count. Palmer will be followed by Davis and Brown in this inning. Palmer 0 for 1, did reach base on an error in that 1st inning. It was actually Schwartz who committed the error. Palmer laying down a nice bunt just slightly to the right side of the first baseline as the count now goes 2-1. And Schwartz jumping off the mound, immediately grabbing the ball, but then throwing wild to first. So a 2-1 count now on the leadoff hitter in the top of, top of the 3rd. And make that a 2-2 count.
A lot of heat on that swing, a little bit low and a little bit late, but
Wekiva looking to get 7th win of the season, 6-16 record. Regular season finale for both these teams. And we'll go to a full count.
If you're just joining us, didn't hear us mention it earlier, this is the second half of a home-and-home series between Wekiva and Ocoee. Wekiva played at Ocoee's house yesterday, lost by 2 on the back of really struggling with fielding, in particular for the Mustangs. So they're looking to improve upon that, and of course, if you've been following this game, you know they dug themselves into a hole as Palmer thought real hard about swinging at that one, but stopped himself just in time, and Palmer advances to first on the walk. Next at the plate for Ocoee, right fielder number 31, Amon Davis. So now the Mustangs again looking for a little bit of friendly retribution, as it looks like we're going to get a substitution at first base. As I see Palmer coming off. Now he's the designated hitter. Vetter Brown coming in for him at first. I'm not sure if that's intended to be a pinch runner or if he'll be taking a spot in the lineup as well. We'll see when they come back around at the bottom of or at the top of the next inning.
Chin music to Davis. 1-0 count. So 2-0 count. So Brown in at first base. Looks like Coach Hopper looking to give Brown some playing opportunity. He's not listed as attempting any stolen bases as the count goes 2-1.
Now that was honestly kind of an off-speed pitch coming from Schwartz there. So in any case, Davis decides to pass on it. As I mentioned earlier, we celebrated senior night earlier this week. Of course, the tradition is that you host senior night on the last regular season home game. You are not permitted to have special activities for the home team in any postseason games. Not to mention you never guaranteed that you're going to host any postseason games, so you wouldn't want to do that anyway. However, the Mustangs will sometimes put senior night on the second to last home game, particularly since this is the second to last legal playing date of the season. So if you'd had senior night tonight and, suppose the weather had not cooperated, which you don't know at the beginning of the season when you schedule these things, you could be in real trouble of just not having senior night at all. So completely understandable that Wekiva went ahead and took care of that earlier in the week. But again, we want to congratulate our senior members of the class of 2025. You can see those numbers painted along the third baseline. That's what that's for. We have 7 young men who will graduate at the end of the season. And it looks like we've got some activity going on at the pitcher's mound here.
Yeah, there's actually 8 seniors. So a 5-0 lead for Ocoee. They begin the top of the third inning with 2 walks. Palmer and Davis drawing those 2. The 7 and 8 batters. So not only in general do you want to avoid walking your leadoff hitter and then the second hitter, but
and there goes Schwartz out into center field, and it looks like Flocker may be getting the tap here.
Yeah, but you also you don't want to give up walks to the bottom of the order, Mark.
No, certainly not. And nope, I take that back. It's not going to be Flocker. It's
so while we got a pause here, Mark, but going back to what you were saying about Wekiva sometime being its worst own enemy, a.k.a. the errors. Again, you have tangible errors, the ones that are recorded, but there's also a lot of mental errors. But just looking tonight at the recorded errors, 2 throwing errors, Wekiva giving up 5 runs in the first inning. 4 hits. So certainly they would have been in a hole, but that 3-run deficit becomes 5 with those 2 errors. And now, of course, we know who is on the mound. That's
now pitching
Graham.
for the Mustangs is number 12, Jaden Graham. So we'll pause here for just a moment while he warms up.
And he's got his work cut out, nobody out.
Got a lineup here over on the first base line of your on deck and everybody else for the next 4 positions in the lineup.
Graham coming in with a 7.53 ERA, 1-4 record, 11th appearance, 6th in relief, and 25 walks, 22 strikeouts. So again, talking about errors, when you have more walks than strikeouts, that's certainly a mental error. Again, it's not recorded. It doesn't go on that scoreboard or the stat, when at the end of the box score there, the third stat that you use after the runs in each inning. But you're putting yourself in a very bad situation when you're giving up more walks and striking out batters.
Once again, that is Graham on the mound, and now at the plate for Ocoee is the left fielder, number 14, Jaden Brown.
And Brown, the number 9 hitter, he'll step in looking for his first hit of the game. Struck out in the first inning, which also brought the first inning to an end. Brown coming into the game batting.
First pitch is high and inside for ball 1.
Brown batting .216 with 5 RBIs, no extra base hits, and as you heard Mark just say, starts off this at bat with a 1-0 count. First pitch for Graham as well. The delivery, and that's a foul ball, but probably got a little bit of help, Graham, that is. Brown swinging at a pitch below the knees. Evens the count at 1-1. We're in the top of the third, 5-0 lead for Ocoee. They come in 12-11, looking for a second consecutive victory over Wekiva. This series, the finale as well, the last 2 games of the 2025 regular season. And there's a curveball. Clearly outside, Brown now chasing, 2-1 count. That'll make it 2-2. So we are again in the top of the third inning, and this is the Browns at bat. Once it's completed, that means Ocoee will have gone through the lineup twice. Whereas Wekiva is still looking to finish its lineup for the first time. Of course, with the 5-0 lead, that makes sense. Now a 3-2 count. Give credit to Bowen, doing a nice job of keeping himself in front of that ball. Keeping the runners at first and second. Bad news for Wekiva, though. There is nobody out in the top of the third inning as Graham delivers. Ball ripped over second base, and that's going to be trouble. Most likely a run, and now certainly the run will come in as Fritchley boots it in center field. And 6-0 lead for Ocoee, and RBI number
2-base
6
RBI picked up by Jaden Brown. That'll put the first run of the inning on the board and bring Ocoee up to a 6-0 lead. Next at the plate, Ocoee returns to the top of the card with third baseman, catcher number 20, Jose Ratana.
So the 6-0 lead, as you heard Mark boom out over the public address, but still nobody out. And as I mentioned, that was Brown's first hit, and not only his first hit, but a valuable, productive hit as he drives in the run. Strike one to Ratana.
You scoring that just as a double, or was it a single plus an E?
Single and an E. Of course, Wekiva's plight further heightened by the error of center field off the glove of Fritchley. And that ball's going to be socked into foul territory. 0-2 count.
And that one's headed to softball.
It's been a Ocoee game from the get-go, sending 9 batters to the plate in the first inning. Strike 3, 3 straight pitches, and Ratana retired. First out of the inning.
Graham records the swinging strikeout to put one away for the Knights. Next to the plate for Ocoee, third baseman number 13, Bryson Gray.
And perhaps most importantly, he keeps the runners at first and third.
Second and third. That was the E8.
Second and third. So Gray
should have been
steps
first
up.
and third.
Gray steps up. He's 1 for 2. Singled in the first. Scored a run and flew out to the first baseman Flaquier in the second inning, and he takes another mighty swing to no avail. 0-1 count. And that single that Gray got in the first inning, that began that run, or that stretch of 7 straight batters reaching base. And now an 0-2 count.
That was awfully high.
Yeah.
Gray went for it anyway.
Gray unable to connect with the low fastball and unable to connect with the high fastball. And now Graham 1 out away from getting out of this inning, giving up only 1 run after 2 batters reached base, first 2 batters. And we'll have to wait to the next pitch as Gray jabs the ball foul. So now we are about halfway through sunset at Mustang Field. Temperatures are dropping slightly now in the low to mid 70s. And there's strike 3, so Graham comes in, gives up a single, but then 2 straight strikeouts.
Back-to-back strikeouts recorded by Graham to put 2 away for the Knights. Next to the plate, shortstop, number 6, Cervico Allen.
So with Allen stepping up, he's 1 for 1 tonight, a single in the first, scored a run, walked in the second. And those 2 strikeouts, obviously you go from no outs to 2 outs, but also does give Wekiva some momentum, at least positions himself to create some momentum. And Graham continues. He seems to have found his rhythm there after giving up that single to Brown.
Yeah, and I'd also point out that not only is it back-to-back strikeouts, he hasn't thrown a ball in 3 at-bats.
Graham delivers, and as you just mentioned, continues to get those strikeouts. 0-2, or gets the strike, 0-2 count. And we'll need at least 1 more pitch. That ball poked into foul territory.
So far, 3 and 13 for Graham. Make it 3 and 14.
As
Graham records the 3rd out of the inning. This one he has to catch in the field instead of getting a direct strikeout, but that's 3 consecutive batters without a single ball thrown by Graham. And that will take us to the middle of the 3rd inning. In that half inning, 1 run scored on 1 hit with 1 Mustang error, leaving 2 on base. And the score now stands 6-0 Knights at the end of 2.5 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. As we enter the bottom of the third inning, the Mustangs will begin in the ninth position of their lineup with left fielder number 1, Noah James. Archie still pitching for the Knights. James up first here in the third, so we'll start at the very bottom of the card, and the first pitch is in the dirt to bring up a 1-0 count.
Six nothing deficit. 6-0 deficit being faced by Wekiva. 5 runs scored in the first inning, 1 in the third by Ocoee. 3 of those 6 runs earned. As Mark said, James the bottom of the lineup as he is now ahead with the 2-0 count. So James batting .080 on the season, has an RBI and a double, and now he's looking at that 2-1 count. Archie back to work, the lefty, 2-2 count, 3-1 count. So Wekiva, not much doing in the second inning, as only 4 batters came up as James draws ball 4. And the leadoff
James advances to first for the base on balls, and the Mustangs will return to the top of the card with shortstop number 9, Darrell Martinez.
However, in the first inning, Wekiva did have a great opportunity to get on the board. Their leadoff hitter Martinez, who, as you just heard Mark say, is now at the plate for the second time, he doubled. And then Reinert, the number 2 hitter, walked. So Wekiva had 2 runners on base right out of the gate, nobody out, trailing 5-0, but
in as a pinch runner at first, number 15, Sean John.
But they were unable to score. Martinez thrown out at home on a stolen base attempt, and then Reinert thrown out as well as on a stolen base attempt back in the first inning. And so instead of that lead being cut as 1-0 or strike 1 to Martinez, Wekiva remained 5-0, remained behind 5-0 heading into the second inning. So James safe at first, head first slide. And that'll take the count to 1-1. Just a programming note. Next week, next Thursday, we will conclude the regular season. Our last broadcast of not just the 2025 spring sports schedule is the count now 2-1, but the 2024-25 school year softball. There will be a softball game. And no, that is not a mistake if you follow high school sports. Of course, you're probably thinking have an easy dash down to second base for for James. But this year, the FHSAA started the softball season a week after the baseball season. And that's due to the fact because the FHSAA has also gone to a best-of-3 format, not for the district championship tournaments, but for the FHSAA tournament, or if you prefer, the state playoffs. So now the 3-1, 3-2 count.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual. You're used to seeing, if anything, the girls' version of a sport tends to lead the boys' version by a week as we get the swinging strikeout here. And that will be Archie recording the swinging strikeout to put 1 away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate, now Wekiva returns to the top of the card with shortstop number 9, Martinez. I forgot, and I announced it wrong because I forgot that Wekiva ended the previous inning with a caught stealing, which means that the batter who was up at the end of that inning is still up at the beginning of the next inning. So Fly catch will record out number 2 for the Mustangs. And now at the plate for Wekiva is DH number 4, Brady Renner.
2 outs, runner on second base.
So that is a little bit of an unusual scenario when you have an out occur in the field while the third out occurs while someone is at bat, and not as a result of the ball going in play from the at bat. Then whoever was already at bat is still at bat at the beginning of the next inning, or the next time that team is up in the next inning, but the count is cleared back to 0.
So Reinert steps in. He looks at strike 1. No official at bat today. He walked in the first inning. Unable to, second consecutive batter to lead off the bottom of the first. Of course, Martinez doubled, and Wekiva unable to score. You can hear the ping as that ball is slapped over to second. Woodard does not have to move, corrals the ball over to first, and
Play
the
is
leadoff
made
walk.
on the 4-3 ground out from Woodard to Nace, and that will take us to the end of the third inning. In that half inning, no runs scored on no hits with no night errors, leaving 1 on base, and the score remains 6-0 at the end of 3 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field in a moment. As we enter the top of the 4th inning, the Knights will begin in the 4th position of their lineup with center fielder number 4, DJ O'Neill. Welcome back to Mustang Field. 6-0 the score. Mustangs have been playing pretty evenly with Ocoee ever since the middle of the first inning. However, they dug themselves into quite a hole with 2 errors in the top of the first inning. And Schwartz struggling to find his rhythm on the pitching mound as well, and all that is combined as we get a foul ball for an 0-1 count on O'Neill to start off the 4th inning. The Mustangs now looking down the barrel of a pretty deep pit to get out of. Of course, these two teams played each other last night at Ocoee. This is a home-and-home series. As we get one that is low and outside for the southpaw.
Yeah, O'Neill, one of the key cogs tonight, of course, in the cleanup spot. He's 1 for 1 tonight, singled in the first inning, scored a run, and then walked in the second. Didn't score a run, but his walk did keep the lineup moving forward.
That one looks like it's headed out of play.
I'll take the count to 1-2.
Again, apologies, we don't have a camera in that back corner, so I can't show you where those errant foul balls go. I was just remarking to Coach Teitai before the game, this is going to be the end of season 18 tonight, and it is the first time that I can remember since I've been announcing baseball and softball at Wekiva that we have gone the entire year without a single night having a home game for both baseball and softball at the same time. Flyout catch is made for the Mustangs at third base by that's James that's now taken over third base, and that will put one away for the Knights. Next at the plate will be number 5, the second baseman, Shamar Woodard.
Actually, James is an outfielder. I thought he was a left fielder. So Woodard steps in. He's looking for his first official plate appearance, his first official at-bat. Walked both times he's come up, and he starts with strike 1. He scored a run in the first inning. If you joined us late, if you didn't, just a reminder, game started as well as Wekiva could hope for. Schwartz on the mound, struck out the leadoff hitter, but then 7 straight batters reached base. And when all was said and done in that first inning, Ocoee had taken a 5-0 lead as the count is now 1-1. 3 straight hits, a walk, a single, an error, and then a double, making up that stretch of 7 straight batters reaching base. Back to your point, Mark, when this inning started, Wekiva's only given up 1 run. It's a 1-0 game since the first, but of course, as the count goes 2-1, you play 9 innings. You can't choose which innings you want to count and which ones you don't. They all count. So, and as the saying goes, it doesn't matter how you win. They all count the same. So doesn't matter if that 5 runs turns out to be the difference in the game or not. In terms of the victory going to Ocoee, as the count now 2-2. If Ocoee can hold on, this would be their 13th victory of the season against 11 defeats. Wekiva comes in at 6-16. Yes, no doubt, it's been a long season. A very young team as the count goes full, and we've seen that throughout the season. A lot of errors, not just the tangible, the kind you record, fielding or throwing errors, but a lot of mental errors, a lot of errors due to a lack of focus. And they've certainly taken their lumps this season. And speaking of lumps, Woodard gets plunked, and he'll be on base for the 3rd time without an official at-bat.
Woodard advances to first on the hit batsman, which would have been ball 4 anyway. Next to the plate for Ocoee, first baseman number 3, Trenton Nice.
Nice steps in, 1 for 2. He singled in the first, 2 RBIs, and scored a run himself. Those 2 RBIs took the lead from 3-0 to 5-0. Struck out in his last at-bat. That was the 2nd inning against the starter Schwartz. Strike 1, and that walk or the hit batsman just which Woodard drew, that does break a streak of 4 straight batters retired by Graham. Graham coming in, faced the 3rd batter in the last inning. That was the 3rd inning. Palmer and Davis leading off the 3rd with walks. Throw down the 2nd, and well in before that throw got to the glove of Polanco, give Woodard a stolen base. So Graham came in with runners at 1st and 2nd, nobody out. First batter he faced was Brown. Brown quickly singled into center field. and then 3 straight outs by Graham to stop the bleeding in that 3rd inning. So we'll have to see if that hit batsman is a aberration, the exception to the rule, as the count now 2-1.
Yeah, and I don't have official stats here, but just what I've been punching into the scoreboard has added up to 10 balls and 18 strikes. So stats slipping a little bit from his early appearance, but Graham still holding his own on the mound.
2-1 pitch from Graham as nightfall is almost complete, and there is strike 2. That'll take the count to 2-2. So certainly need to get an out here with Woodard at second base. Another run makes that score 7-0, and I think you're now entering territory of too far behind to be able to catch up if that 7th run comes in.
I think at this point what Wekiva has to hang their hat on is that if Ocoee can score 5 runs in a half inning, then so can we.
Right. And again, going back to what I've mentioned a couple of times, Wekiva did have an opportunity to score in that 1st inning, their first 2 batters reaching base. And they then literally ran themselves out of a scoring opportunity, both of those runners getting cut down trying to steal. So Graham gets his sign, and the delivery inside, throw down to 3rd, and sliding in safely, Woodard beating the throw, and so now the runner is at 3rd base with only 1 out, and that does also open up the playbook for Ocoee. You don't need to get a base hit now to get that runner home. Woodard taking that lead, standing on the grass. The delivery from Graham, and down goes Nice. The strikeout, much
Graham
needed.
records the swinging strikeout to a 2 away now for the Knights. Next to the plate for Ocoee, number 9, Vetter Brown. So he checks into the lineup for DH Xavier Palmer. That's an unusual lineup configuration to sub out your DH, but Brown takes over here in the 4th inning. We remember we saw him come in after Vetter got on base in the last half inning, or the top of the 3rd, I should say.
A 1-0 count. So the first at bat for Brown. And Brown steps into the plate with that runner on 3rd base. And now 2 outs as the count 1-1. So that goes back to the fact that strikeout, huge for Wekiva as it's the 2nd out of the inning. If you are a golf fan, just a quick update. If you've not been able to follow the Masters, Justin Rose is in the lead after the 1st round. Strike 2, 1-2 count. He's at -7, followed by 3 players at 4, 3 strokes behind. Corey Connors, Scotty Scheffler, of course, the defending champion, and Ludwig Aberg, the Swede, who finished 2nd last year, and then rounding out the top 5 at -3, 4 strokes behind is Tyrell Haddon. And now the 2-2 count.
Hey, come on, bud.
Back to work. It's strike 3. So Graham has come in. He did give up a single, as I mentioned, but since then he's retired 6 out of 7 batters, 4 of which by strikeouts and swinging strikeouts. So Wekiva still with an opportunity due to the work of Graham.
Graham records another strikeout, and that will take us to the middle of the 4th inning. No runs scored on no hits with no 9 errors, leaving 1 on base, and the score remains 6-0 Ocoee at the end of 3.5 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field after another quick break. Welcome back to Mustang Field. And we'll start here with ball one as we enter the bottom of the fourth inning. The Mustangs beginning in the third position of their lineup with third baseman and now pitcher, number 12, Jaden Graham.
Graham 0 for 1 tonight, struck out in the first inning. And now the count goes to 1-1.
This is still Archie on the pitcher's mound.
Archie's gone the distance. And obviously, as this ball eludes the defense, so they'll take
two
it
in a row going out of play.
Archie, obviously, with the shutout attack, he's had a very strong outing, a very crafty outing, giving up just one hit, 3 walks. Wekiva's lone scoring opportunity in the first, he quelled quickly as the count remains 1-2. Martinez and Reiner reaching base in that first inning. Of course, he did get some help with their base running. Not that they made a bad play, but he got out of it because both of the batters who then became runners when they reached base, were thrown out trying to steal. Archie not necessarily getting the outs at the plate. But again, it doesn't matter how you get the outs or the runs, they all count the same. As the count now goes to 2-2. So Archie gets his sign to the leadoff hitter Graham in the fourth inning, and he will be delivering to a full count. Critical at bat. Ball slapped over to the shortstop. Corralled by Allen. Great job. Long throw to first and can't get him. Graham outruns the throw, and the leadoff hitter is on in the bottom of the fourth inning.
Jaden Graham beats the throw to first for the single. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, first baseman, number 20, Emil Flacker.
And Flacker 0 for 1 today. He grounded out to Woodard, the second baseman. So Allen doing an excellent job going deep in that hole, and he actually made a very good, strong, accurate throw over to first. And that's one of the differences between these two teams tonight, as that ball is ticked off. 0-1 count. A couple of balls have been hit deep into the hole. Martinez playing shortstop for Wekiva, and he was able to corral both balls, just like you saw Allen deep in the hole, but his throws were wild as compared to Allen, who made that accurate throw. Even though he didn't get the runner out, he at least gave his team a chance as the count starts off 0-1. Archie, the lefty. That ball skied and out of bounds, foul territory, so it'll be an 0-2 count. Archie was a Wekiva Mustang last year, if you joined us late. Mentioned that at the beginning, a football and baseball player. As that's ball one. Looked like Ratana thought it was strike 3. He got up and looked like he was about to throw it to first, but there was no noise coming from our umpire, so the count 2-2. And of course, Archie, we'll get back to that in a minute. As there's strike 3, the curve getting Flacker fooled him way out in front.
Archie records the swinging strikeout to put one away for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, right fielder, number 2, Caden Lopez.
Lopez 0 for 1, grounded out to Gray, the third baseman in the second inning. Archie last year had to step in, and when I say last year, I mean 2023. We're talking about the school years. And he starts this at-bat to Lopez, ball 1. So a left-handed quarterback, when Archie was in there for Wekiva last year, of course, he also played baseball, as I mentioned. Playing varsity as a freshman in both those sports. And unfortunately, he decided that Ocoee was some greener pastures for him better situation as the count now 2-0. At least, unfortunately, from the Wekiva perspective. And of course, as they say, you know, coming full circle here tonight. Count 2-1. Five, 6-0 lead for Ocoee. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Five runs pushed across home plate in that first inning for Ocoee. 9 batters coming to the plate. And that is really your difference right now. Otherwise, it'd be a 1-0 ball game. The other run scored in the 3rd inning as the count now 3-2. Runner at first, so Graham most likely will be running on the pitch. Avoid double play opportunity. Lopez back in the batter's box. Graham gets a sign and no pitch. Over to first instead. Neil Fisher alongside Mark Barchi, also a public address announcer. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday night. Last game of the regular season for both these teams. And we go back to the pitch on the 3-2 count. And we'll do it all over again. That ball poked into foul territory. Wekiva coming in at a 6-16 record. Obviously a longer season, and that ball might get into the hole. It's hit softly just over the infield. Woodard giving chase, but the out at second base. Or was it at first? Yeah, it was actually first. Woodard picking that ball up, throwing to Nice, and they do get the out after all.
Play is made from Woodard to Nice on the 4-3 ground out. 2 away now for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva, second baseman number 6, Enrique Polanco. So not all for nothing, though. It does put a runner at second for Wekiva.
And we also
now
have
coming into the game to pitch, number 21, that's Gunnar Patterson.
So Archie, a solid performance, going 3 2/3 innings. Most importantly, he leaves without a run being scored by Wekiva. And we'll have his stats in just a moment. Graham, who's now down at second base, is the responsibility of Archie. And as Mark mentioned, that is number 21 on the mound, Patterson. Patterson comes into the game, a 3.67 ERA, 3-5 record, 10th appearance, 3rd in relief. He has given up 18 walks, or 24 walks, but 46 strikeouts. And he takes over with Ocoee leading 6-0, so his task is to close out the game, keep the game moving forward, get those outs. Beautiful night for baseball at Mustang Field as we are about to get back to live action. Patterson's finished his warm-ups. That's Polanco stepping in. He has not had an official at-bat, walked in the second inning, was then out stealing second base in an attempt to steal second base. And the first pitch to Polanco finds the strike zone, 0-1 count.
I had 34 balls and 37 strikes for Archie.
As the count now 0-2. So his official line, Archie's a solid performance, 3 2/3 inning, as the count will remain, the count now 2-1. So 3 2/3 inning for Henry. As mentioned, the runner on second base, that's Graham. That is his responsibility. Gave up 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and obviously no runs. Earned or unearned. As the count now 3-1. Patterson looking to close out this game. His first task is to get Polanco out, and he does not, as the count goes 3-1. Gets his sign, the left-hander. And there is strike 3. Polanco standing at home plate like the house on the side of the road.
That takes us to the end of the 4th inning on the strikeout recorded by Patterson. No runs scored on 1 hit with no night errors, leaving 1 on base. And the score remains 6-0 Knights at the end of 4 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. As we enter the top of the 5th inning, the Knights will begin in the 8th position of their lineup with right fielder number 31, Amon Davis.
Six nothing lead for Ocoee. Graham continues on the mound for Wekiva. He came in the 3rd inning with nobody out, and ball 1. He has retired 6 of 9 batters. Davis 0 for 1 tonight. That ball sliced into foul territory, and from the Ocoee perspective, falls harmlessly to the ground in foul territory. Davis doubled in the 1st, walked in the 3rd. A 5-run outburst in the top of the first, the way the game began, is your difference right now in terms of this being a 1-run game and Ocoee being in command throughout. 9 batters came to the plate in that first inning as the count goes 1-2. Chance of AO coming from the Ocoee dugout to our right. We're on the third base side. And the pitch, no dice, as Davis takes a swing but can't catch up on the low heater. 1 up, 1 down.
Graham records the swinging strikeout to put 1 away for the Knights. Next to the plate for Ocoee, left fielder, number 14, Jaden Brown.
So now that is 5 strikeouts for Graham, 3 in a row. And Graham certainly has come in, put out the fire, taking over for Schwartz in the third inning. Still giving Wekiva an opportunity. They have a long way to go, but certainly 6-0. You feel like there is still some opportunity if Wekiva could string together a couple of hits. I would say they probably have to do it in the 5th inning when they come up here, as we are running out of innings and outs. But at least there is, once again, the opportunity, even if it is a long shot, Wekiva rallying and at least providing a challenge for Ocoee. Ball 1. Actually ball 2, 2-0 count. So if the game were to end right now, of course the story would be the first inning, the 5-0 lead. For Ocoee coming out, taking the lead. That'll make the count 3-0. Graham steps back on the slab, on the rubber. And the delivery. Ball 4, 4 straight pitches. So after 3 consecutive strikeouts, Graham loses his control, and we are back at the top of the lineup.
Jaden Brown walks to first. Next to the plate, Ocoee returns to the top of the card with catcher number 20, Joseph Ratana.
Ratana still looking for his first hit of the game. He struck out twice. In between, he's walked. Does have a stolen base. So Graham needs to get an out here in this situation. Certainly the start he wants with Ratana. Jerking the ball into foul territory. .616 record for Wekiva. 12-11 for Ocoee. And good job there by Polanco to back up that play. Otherwise, we'd have a runner at third base. Graham gets a sign, runner at second base, 1 out, 6-0 lead for Ocoee in the top of the 5th. And the delivery, nice job by Bowen to glove that low and outside pitch, takes the count to 1-1. Back to action, 2-1 count now. Curveball does not find the mark. Neil Fisher, Mark Barchi, bringing you the action tonight, the regular season finale for both these teams. Thank you for joining us. Programming note, we will have one more game next week. That is the softball team. That will be on Thursday. And as of now, that is the conclusion of the 2024-25 school year in terms of broadcast, as the count now 3-1. Just wanted to thank you as well for listening and tuning in throughout this school year. Of course, we always hope that you enjoy listening and watching the broadcast as much as Mark and I do bringing them to you. That ball golfed and snagged by Polanco to his left. And was that a double play? Yes, it's a double play. So
Polanco makes the double play as he picks it out of the air and then gets it over to Martinez for the 4-6 double play, and that will immediately take us to the middle of the 5th inning. No runs scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving none on base, and the score remains 6-0 Knights at the end of 4.5 innings. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the middle of the 5th inning. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the last time of season 18 baseball to stand up, stretch your legs, and join us now for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Mustangs. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. I, of course, cannot do that justice the way that my son can, but he is in bed by now. We'll be back with the bottom of the 5th inning in just a moment. And as we enter the bottom of the 5th inning, the Mustangs will begin in the 7th position of their lineup with number 17, Austin Schwartz.
And Schwartz looks at strike one. Of course, Schwartz, the starting pitcher, he's 0 for 1, struck out in his only at bat in the 2nd inning. So Schwartz's final statistics, since he is at the plate, now 1-1 count. He pitched 2 innings plus 2 batters, gave up 5 hits, 6 walks, only 2 strikeouts. Most importantly, he gave up 6 runs, 3 of which were unearned. And if you joined us late, as the count goes 2-1, fill you in. If not, it's a reminder, 5-0 lead by Ocoee in that 1st inning. 9 batters sent to the plate by the Knights. Got the leadoff hitter on a strikeout, Schwartz that is, as he golfs that one. Weak swing, completely fooled, and that'll be 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. 2 strikeouts now in a row from Patterson, 3 out of the last 4 batters. And that will bring up Bowen, the catcher.
And with a strikeout, putting one away for the Mustangs, next to the plate for Wekiva's catcher number 3, Cody Bowen.
So the leadoff hitter was retired via the strikeout, then a stretch of 7 straight batters reaching base. The 1-0 count. Those 7 batters were made up of 4 singles, a double, 1 walk, and an error. As the 2-1 count now.
2-0.
2-0. And at the end of that 1st inning, 5 runs pushed across the plate by Ocoee, 3 were earned. And that is your difference, as the count now 3-0. It would be a 1-0 lead as opposed to a commanding 6-0 lead for Ocoee as we enter the last couple of innings of the regular season finale for both these teams. And 4 straight balls delivered by Patterson and a runner on first base.
Bowen walks to first.
And we got a pinch runner.
And as a courtesy runner at first base for the Mustangs, number 15, Sean John. So, subtle difference between courtesy runner and pinch runner. I'll get to in just a second. Next in the lineup for the Mustangs, left fielder, number 1, Noah James. So, the difference is in high school baseball, if you were the pitcher or catcher in the previous half inning, or are registered as such on the lineup in the first inning, then you can have a courtesy runner instead of a pinch runner, and that means it does not count as a substitution against your limit. And as soon as you're no longer on the base path, that courtesy runner situation evaporates. James advances to first on the hit batsman. That puts runners at 1 and 2 for the Mustangs. Then they return to the top of the card with shortstop number 9, Darrell Martinez.
So, by the way, Bowen, who, as we just spoke about, courtesy runner in now for him, but he is 2 for 2 reaching base. He has a pair of walks. And this is the second time tonight Wekiva's had 2 batters on. Both times they had 1 or no outs. As the count now begins 0-1. Now Martinez 1 for 2 tonight, doubled in the first. Flew out to the right fielder Davis in the third. At first inning after Martinez doubled, Reinert then walked. That was the other time Wekiva got those 2 batters on base. And there's the outside corner. Patterson coming in with 2 outs in the 4th inning. So this is his 5th batter he's faced. He hasn't given up a hit. He's either struck out the batter or walked him or hit him. As the count now goes 1-1. The delivery, and there's strike 3 as the trend continues. No hits, either strikeouts, walks, or hit batsmen. Most importantly, 2 outs now for Wekiva as Reinert steps in.
Patterson records the strikeout, 2 away now for the Mustangs. Next at the plate for Wekiva is DH number 4, Brady Reinert.
Reinert 0 for 1 tonight, walked in the first inning. Grounded out to the second baseman Woodard in the third. And he's got an opportunity to break the streak, the kind of streak you don't want to. That's not getting runners home. And he will not be able to do it.
Made on the throw from Patterson over to Nice just in the nick of time, and that will take us to the end of the 5th inning. In that inning, no runs, scored on no hits with no night errors, leaving 2 on base, and the score remains 6-0 Knights at the end of 5 innings. Back with more from Mustang Field after a quick break. As we enter the top of the 6th inning, the Knights begin in the second position of their lineup with third baseman number 13, Bryson Gray. Graham still on the mound for Wekiva. Gray will be up first for Ocoee, who continues to maintain a 6-0 lead. And Neil, if you take away the top of the first inning, this is a 1-0 ball game.
Yeah, we keep going back to that, but that's your story of the game tonight. There's really no other way to describe tonight's game or tell the story. That 5 runs. And speaking of those 5 runs, they were put on the board as ball 1 delivered by Graham. Stretch of 7 batters reaching base. Gray starting that stretch with a single. He then scored the first run. Singled, stole second and third, then scored the run. He has flown out to Flaquer and struck out in his other at-bats. Now a 1-1 count. And Graham coming in with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And actually, he came in with nobody out in the 3rd inning. He has not given up a run. 1 run did score while he was in, but that is actually attributed, that is credited to Schwartz, the starter. That was the first batter. Brown singled to center field to bring in that 6th run. 2-1 count now. Since then, he has gone 3 innings without giving up a run, and certainly what Wekiva needs, still with an opportunity to at least make this game competitive. 2-2 count now. As that ball poked into foul territory. And the 2-2 count. Everybody back to your assigned position. On that foul ball, 2 consecutive foul balls now. Running up the count for Graham, the pitch count. Leadoff hitter in the top of the 6th inning for Ocoee, who maintains that 6-0 lead, and now the count will go full. The count remains 2-2. Gray back in the box. Delivery from Graham, and this one's going fair into right field. Underneath it is Lopez, and 1 up, 1 down in the top of the 6th.
Cade Lopez makes the fly catch in left field, put 1 away for the Knights. Next to the plate for Ocoee, shortstop number 6, Sirico Allen.
So Allen, he also singled in his first at-bat in the 1st inning. Walked in the 2nd and flew out to Flaquer, the first baseman. Foul ball, that was in the 4th or 3rd inning. So Graham continues to get the batters out. A 1-0 count. Graham back to work. Strike 2. Well, that was an impressive pitch. Allen unable to catch up. Can we get that 3rd strikeout in the 2nd out of the inning? No, not on that pitch. Allen taking the high pitch. Counts now 1-2.
2-1.
2-1. And the delivery. And this one's connected into center field as well, but right at Fritchley, 1 step to his right.
Nathan Fritchley has the fly catch at center field. That puts 2 away for the Knights. Next to the plate for Ocoee. Center fielder number 42, DJ O'Neill.
O'Neill steps in. He's looking for his second hit of the night. He singled in the first, scored a run, walked in the second, and flew out to James, the left fielder. And ball one on the first pitch.
63 pitches so far for Graham.
Again, Graham's done an admirable job coming in. Short's your starter. He went the first 2 innings and 2 batters into the third. It's been all Graham since then.
It's 26 and 38 since coming in as a relief. Just a bit afoul of the first baseline.
$6-0 lead for Ocoee. They jumped on Wekiva in that first inning, scoring 5 runs. A 6th run was added in the third. That's when Graham came in. First batter single, got that 6th run in as the count now 2-1. And Graham's been solid since then. Yet to give up a hit. Walked 1 batter and hit a batter. This one straight up, down into foul territory, and beautiful job by Graham. Showing
Running
off his
catch
fielding.
by Graham for the foul out, and that will take us to the middle of the 6th inning. In that half inning, no runs, scored on no hits with no Mustang errors, leaving none on base. And the score remains 6-0 Knights at the end of 5.5 innings. Back with more in just a moment. As we enter the bottom of the 6th inning, the Mustangs being in the 3rd position of their lineup, with third baseman number 12, Jaden Graham, and now on the mound for Ocoee is number 14, Jaden Brown.
6-0 lead, still maintained by Ocoee, as you just heard Mark say, as Brown takes over, and that's ball 1 to Graham. Graham 1 for 2 tonight, struck out in the first inning, got an infield single in the fourth. So Brown takes over for Patterson. And Patterson took over for Henry. Count now 1-2-0. Brown with a 1.05 ERA. This is his 7th appearance of the season. 3-0 count. All seven appearances have been in relief. And he has issued 4 walks against 8 strikeouts. So a chance to get that 5th walk. That will not happen on that pitch.
You could tell he was not going. It didn't matter where that pitch was. He was not going to swing at it.
So 3-1 count now to the leadoff hitter. We are in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ocoee with a 6-0 lead. And now what was 3-0 becomes a full count for Graham, the leadoff hitter, in this inning. Cool, crisp night from Mustang Field next to the 429. And there's strike 3, so 3 straight pitches, 3 straight balls, and 3 straight pitches. And in
Brown
the end,
records the swinging strikeout, but 1 away for the Mustangs. Next to the plate, be first baseman number 20, Emil Flacker.
And in the end, it's Brown winning the battle over Graham. So Flacker steps in, the cleanup hitter. Most likely the last time Wekiva will have its 3-4-5 middle of the lineup hitters in. Flacker 0 for 2 tonight. Grounded out to Woodard, the second baseman, and then struck out. And he looks at strike 1. And make that ball 1-1 count. So Ocoee, if they can hold on, the 6-0 lead, they will end the season winning 2 consecutive games, and at 13-11 head into the district championship game. That's the Class 7A District 4, as the count now goes 1-2 on Flacker. Wekiva has 5 outs to work with. And that'll even the count at 2-2. We haven't had much action since the top of the first inning, Mark. 5 runs scored in that first inning for Ocoee, 9 batters to the plate. Since then, it's been a 1-0 game. Ball lifted up to shortstop. Allen immediately calls for it in an easy out. Second
Fly
of the
catch
inning.
is made at shortstop for the Knights by Sirico Allen. 2 away now for the Mustangs. Next to the plate for Wekiva, right fielder number 2, Caden Lopez.
And Lopez will be at the plate with nobody on, 2 outs. And he's grounded out both times he was up tonight to Gray, the third baseman, and Woodard, the second baseman. So now 4 outs for Wekiva to work with. Trailing 6-0. 1-0 count. Back to work. Ball ripped behind the plate. So 1-1 count. Now to Lopez. And that'll take the count to 2-1. Lopez back in the plate. Brown with the sign. And there's a hard hit, the single through the infield, through the middle of the infield, just out of the reach of Woodard.
Lopez picks up the single, and he is safe at first. Next to the plate for Wekiva, second baseman, number 6, Enrique Polanco.
Third hit of the night for Wekiva off of 3 different Ocoee pitchers. First given up by Brown. And as you heard Mark say, this is Polanco now stepping into the plate. He's 0 for 1, walked in his first at-bat. That was in the second inning. He was out trying to steal second as he looks at strike 1. And then he struck out in the fourth. He'll be batting. He's batting now with 2 outs, runner at first. And Wekiva trailing 6-0. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning from Mustang Field. Throw back down to first. Woo. It's a little bit closer there than it initially appeared it was going to be. And now strike 2 against 1 ball. Wekiva needs hits. They need them right now. 2-2 count. 4 outs to work with for Wekiva. And that does not catch the outside corner. Takes us to 3-2. So with 2 outs, most likely Lopez will be running. And the delivery. That's ball 4. Lopez sliding, no need to, but it did still look good. And
yeah, I think at this point it's really just about keeping the blood circulating. It's starting to get a little cool.
So runners now at first and second.
Going to pause for a timeout.
Coach Hopper making his way out to the mound. So far, no signal, so it looks like Brown's going to stay in. Hopper just out to give him some reassurance and remind him game plan and what he needs to do. And now Hopper returns, end of the meeting. So Brown stays in. Of course, Brown a lefty. 3 lefties tonight.
Next up for the Mustangs in the 7 hole is number 17, Austin Schwartz.
So between the 2 teams, there's been 3 left-handed pitchers tonight. Of course, Schwartz started for Wekiva. Henry started for Ocoee, and now Brown in for Ocoee. Speaking of Schwartz, as you said, he's at the plate. And he was 0 for 2, a pair of strikeouts. Does not strike out this time. And Wekiva will catch the break. Not sure exactly what happened there as far as who was on
that's a miscommunication. That's a non-error error is what that is. As we're going to officially score that as a single, but Schwartz is safe at first on the single, and that will load up the bases for number 3, the catcher, Cody Bowen.
Oh, Bowen, an unusual line score. He's 0 for 0 tonight. He's been up twice, but walked both times. Both times he was thrown out at second, or he was stranded at second base. So Bowen's batting average came in tonight 179. It remains 179. He has 6 RBIs as he looks at ball 1. Brown back to work with those bases loaded. No, he's going to take some time. Actually, I think Bowen asked for time. Okay, now everybody's back in their assigned positions. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th, a 6-0 lead for Ocoee. And now we got a balk.
The balk will score a run as the Mustangs bring Lopez home. That puts Wekiva on the board. Runners now at 2 and 3. Well, Neil, take it any way you can get it, I guess.
Yeah. As I've been saying, runs all count the same. You don't get style points.
So now we'll see if that breaks the ice for Wekiva.
Wekiva with only 3 hits tonight. Actually, that's 4 hits. As the count now 2-0. So certainly the 3 Ocoee pitchers have done their jobs. They haven't always been pretty. They've had some, I used to say, sideways at bat. Count now 3-0 and say some sideways at bats as 6 batters have reached base, either a walk or a hit batsman. But bottom line is Wekiva has not been able to get that impact hit off of them to change the feel and the direction of this game. And the bases will be loaded again. 7th walk or hit batsman. Still 2 outs though.
That's Bowen walking to first, and that will reload up the bases for left fielder number 1, Noah James.
So James steps in, and speaking of hit batsmen, he's the batter who was hit. That was in the 5th. He struck out in the 3rd. And we also have a courtesy runner. It's the same one we had before, Sean John. John, 2 of 3 in base stealing attempts, although with the bases loaded, it's highly unlikely he's going to be attempting any. And James looks at strike 1. So a 6-1 score now in the bottom of the 6th inning. 1-1 count. Bases loaded for Wekiva. Chance to do some serious damage as far as cutting into that lead. A 2-1 count. On the other hand, Ocoee and Jaden Brown, the pitcher, they need only 1 more out to keep that score at 6-1. And remain in control of the game. By the way, Brown, a freshman, playing varsity ball. So certainly that's always an impressive feat. Check swing. Our umpire says doesn't matter. It's over the plate. And 2-2 count. So now Brown and Ocoee 1 strike away from getting out of this inning with only 1 run scored. And was not able to do it on that pitch. So we're full count, bases loaded, 2 outs, 6-1 score in the bottom of the 6th. Runners should be running. And here's the pitch from Brown. And that'll be ball 4 up high in a 6-2 lead now as Wekiva has made some inroads.
The walk will force home Polanco, and so that'll put the 2nd run up for the Mustangs. Meanwhile, James advances to first. Bases remain loaded. Next at the plate, the Mustangs return to the top of the lineup with shortstop number 9, Darrell Martinez.
And James now with his 2nd RBI of the season. Coach Hopper remains in the dugout. If you remember, he came out a couple batters ago, talked to Brown. So was keeping an eye out to see if Coach Hopper would come out now that Brown has given up a couple of walks. In the meantime, Martinez, who you just heard Mark say, the leadoff hitter, number one hitter, he's 1 for 3 tonight, a double. Flew out to Davis and right and struck out his last at bat. And now he's got an opportunity to do some damage into that lead here. Actually, he now represents the tying run as well.
And Neil, this just harkens back to that first half inning again. That is going to leave 3 stranded as the throw is made from Shamar Woodard to Trenton Nice, and that will take us to the end of the 6th inning. In that half inning, the Mustangs scoring 2 runs on 2 hits with no night errors, leaving 3 on base. And the Mustangs will now have 4 runs to make up, trailing 6-2 as we head into the last inning of regulation here at Mustang Field. Back with the conclusion in a moment. As we enter the top of the 7th inning, the Knights begin in the 5th position in their lineup with second baseman number 5, Shamar Woodard.
And Woodard, a very unusual line. He has yet to have an at-bat. He's been up 3 times, 3 plate appearances, walked twice, and he was hit by a pitch his last time, 1-0 count. So Wekiva down 6-2. They've had their opportunities. They haven't had a lot, but they have had 2 opportunities. They trailed 5-0 at the end of the first half of an inning. They got their first 2 men on base with nobody out. As the count now 2-0. That inning fizzled, but then the even better opportunity was that last inning. They had the bases loaded twice, and they brought in 2 runs, so they did do something. They did convert the opportunity into some tangible results, but you just feel like they left at least 1 more run out of the board as it's 2-1. But again, between those 2 innings, certainly you're looking at a couple of runs being left on the board. Going back, the story of this game is 5 runs scored in the first inning. That's 2-2. By Ocoee, the first batter striking out, then 7 straight batters reaching base. 4 singles, a double, a walk, and an error, making up those 7 batters reaching base. 3 of the 5 runs earned. Count remains 2-2.
Graham currently looking at 29 balls, 42 strikes on his count so far.
And he'll keep the count at 2-2. So I know we've said it over and over throughout this game, but there's no other way to really explain the 6-2 lead other than going back to that first inning. And I guess there's a lesson to be learned there about getting off to a strong start or falling behind quickly can be lethal. As that ball hits sharply to Graham, picks it up, and now he throws wildly to first. No advancement by Woodard, but he does get on base, leading off the 7th inning.
Woodard advances to first on the Mustang error. Next to the plate, first baseman number 3, Trenton Nice.
And Nice, he struck out twice, but his first at-bat in the first inning, perhaps the most important of this game, a 2-run single. Slaps that, hits it high, and this time the fielding play is made by James out
Fly
in left
catch
field.
is made by Noah James, and that will take us to the first out. One away now with a runner at first next to the plate for Ocoee. Will be number 10, the designated hitter, Xavier Palmer, who re-enters for Ocoee.
He's 0 for 1 tonight. Reached base in the first inning on an error, walked in the third, scored a run. So getting back to Nice, even though he's out, to finish my thought, Nice single took the lead from 3-0 to 5-0 in that first inning. You know, again, you look at that, it's now a 4-2 game as the bunt's dropped over to first, and Palmer does his job, advancing the runner. But the runner is out at third, trying to get that
Double
extra
play
base.
is made. The throw first at first, and then back to third, and that will immediately take us to the middle of the 7th inning. In that half inning, and no runs scored on no hits, with 1 Mustang error, leaving 1 on base, and now the score still stands 6-2, and the Mustangs have 4 runs to make up as we head into the bottom of the 7th inning. Back with the conclusion from Mustang Field in a moment. Checking into the lineup for the Mustangs, number 7, Anthony Bethune.
So Bethune, a pinch hitter, as you just heard Mark say. Only 6 plate appearances. He's 1 for 3 and a pair of RBIs. A 1-0 count. 1-1 count now.
Make that 2-1. I was
2-1
slow on
count.
the button.
And now 3-1 on your leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 7th inning. Wekiva down 6-2. 3 outs to work with. Make up that 4-run deficit. And that'll take us to a full count now on the leadoff hitter. So Graham's final line, of course, this is assuming that the game does end here at the end of the 7th inning. As a full count, and we get the leadoff hitter on. Certainly what Wekiva needed most.
Bethune walks to first. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, we'll have to wait for these words from our coach, but it will be third baseman and now pitcher number 12, Jaden Graham.
And we're getting a pitching change as well. Coach Harper signaling from the outfield. So your final statistics for Graham, assuming that this is the last half an inning. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, obviously no earned runs, 1 walk against 5 strikeouts, did hit 1 batter. And the reason I bring that up, even though it's not official until the game's over, but Graham's the reason that Wekiva still does have an opportunity to at least make this game a challenge. He came in, it was 5-0, gave up a single to his first batter that he faced. That made it 6-0. But after that, he did not give up a hit. Only 2 batters reached base in those 5 innings. So certainly a phenomenal job by Graham. And again, the end result is they still have a chance to at least be competitive here in the bottom of the 7th inning, trailing 6-2. And their leadoff hitter, Bethune, reaching base on the walk. So that'll bring up Graham, who's 1 for 3 tonight, a pair of strikeouts in between an infield single. First pitch hit solidly, but right to Allen, scoops it up, 6-4-3, and there goes Wekiva's momentum. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th.
The throw from Allen to Woodard to Nice for the 6-4-3 double play will clear the bases and put 2 outs on the board. Next to the plate, first baseman number 20, Emil Flacker.
So what, just as quickly as there was some potential on the base, we're now down to our last out, Mark.
Yeah, that'll just let all the air out of your tires.
And by the way, on the mound, happened so quick we didn't get a chance to introduce him, but that's Carson Lewis, number 1.
Yeah, 2.33 earned run average, 1 win this season for his team. And we'll start here with 2 balls.
Two-0 count.
In play.
Diving attempt by Woodward just out of his reach. Might have even have skimmed the top of his glove.
Emil Flacker finds a spot just out of reach for the single. He's safe at first. Next at the plate for the Mustangs, right fielder, number 2, Caden Lopez.
Lopez 1 for 3 tonight. Grounded out to Allen, or to Gray, the third baseman. Woodard, the second baseman, singled in his last at bat with 2 outs and scored the first run. And we also have a courtesy runner coming in.
Checking into the game is a pinch runner at first base. That'll be number 14, Devin Johnson. At this point, you're in the last half inning of regulation. Doesn't matter what you do with your substitutions.
Johnson 6 of 7 in stolen base attempts this season. The first pitch, hit, and foul ball. So an 0-1 count to Lopez. And this is where the double play comes in, just getting that second out. You have one out, you have two batters on, or two runners on, a much different game, a much different feel and direction. So Lewis back to work, needing one more out. And that could be it. Bounding over to Allen, scoops it up over to the first, and that will do it.
Allen on the throw, too nice, and that will take us to the end of the ball game.
So the story one last time is the 5 runs scored in that first inning, 3 of which were earned. Graham came in, did not give up only 1 hit, but to no avail. It was too little, too late, and that concludes the regular season for Wekiva. They'll finish at 6-17. Ocoee finishes at 13-11. Mark, take us to the finish line for one last time this season.
6 runs scored on 5 hits against 4 Mustang errors. The Mustangs had 2 runs scored on 5 hits against no night errors, and that takes us to the end of the ball game and the end of season 18. We want to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Knight athletes. Mustang fans, your next chance to catch Wekiva is going to be in the district tournament. They travel to South Lake on April 15th. That is next Tuesday to begin their postseason journey. As for the Knights, they are also headed into the postseason. Your next chance to catch them after the regular season concludes, they will go to the district tournament and host Apopka, and that will also be next Tuesday. So good luck to both of these teams as we enter the postseason. This concludes season 18 of Mustang Baseball. We do still have a couple more home games for you next week. They're not baseball, though. We have volleyball senior night on Tuesday, and we have softball senior night on Thursday. The Thursday game will be broadcast live on YouTube and NFHS Network, so we hope you'll join us for those either here or virtually. For those of you here in the ballpark, please drive carefully and arrive home safely. For those of you watching online, we hope you'll subscribe before you go. Until next time, please join us again from Mustang Field again for softball next week. Good night from South Apopka.